Welcome back to an empty chair. Watts is gone. Welcome back, everybody, to the next installment of the Toasty Time Podcast. I'm joined by a lot of people, so we're going to go around the table real quick and introduce the brothers and then get started with this episode. We're going to be reviewing, just for this one, the first episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. To my right, my aeronautical brother, Watts. Wait, right? Yeah, to my right, Brother Watts. Say hello to the people. Right on.
What's going on, party people?
Immediate left. Yeah, immediate left. Brother D. Fastest running man in all the land.
How y'all doing?
You gonna see him. To my, what the fuck is beneath me? Down there, brother Fuller. Y'all remember him from last time.
Yo.
And to my immediate other down there is Brother West. First episode, like the rest of the brothers, making his appearance.
How y'all doing?
No man, to the immediate other down there.
Somewhere down there. We'll get some directions one of these days. So to open it up before we really dive in, I guess a good general question would be, without going into spoilers, what do y'all think of the Kenobi series? Is it good? Is it entertaining so far? Has it been what you expected? This is the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first Disney Plus Star Wars TV series that they've done so far. Disney's had a couple movies that they've done since they bought the Star Wars franchise a couple years prior. The first TV series. And I've been enjoying it so far. I have been glad to see the original characters back. I think the story so far is interesting. I think it's always a little bit tricky when you do a show about a character who you already saw die, because it's kind of hard to start filling in the gaps for continuity before what happens so you don't start messing up where we end up at. But I think this did a decent enough job filling in some holes for some time of Obi-Wan's life before, the Phantom Menace, or not Phantom Menace, before Empire Strikes Back and everything, with him coming out of retirement to help young Luke. I think it does a decent job just giving some extra context for it. I think it does a good job giving you a little bit more of the Star Wars universe, even though we do start off right off on Tatooine, everywhere. We've probably spent more time on Tatooine in the Star Wars franchise than any other planet in the universe, which is a little unfortunate, but that's what it is. But yeah, what's the group's general opinion? How y'all feeling about Kenobi so far? Anybody?
What order we going in?
No order. Just talk. Try not to over talk anybody as best you can.
Should I fuck with it? It's dope. I like how they got the storyline set up. The little flashbacks. How Obi-Wan has this ridiculous ass beard. It's dope. I like how they carrying on the scene from past with Anakin and shit like that, bro. I feel like it's on the up and up, bro. I feel like they should already be aiming for season 2 and 3 to give us more than what the fuck we need to see.
You think it should be a season 2 and 3?
Of course. We get that, but that's a good question. So everybody else, what are your thoughts?
I like it. The fact that they're going back to the Skywalkers and not jumping to a new character, but giving us a little bit of the missing info, I like that part.
What about you, D?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. At first, when I was watching it, I already told E, I was like, bro, I thought Obi was being a little bitch at first. Not gonna lie. Then the further you watch it, you like, my boy was in retirement for about 30 years. He had to come back. Get his shit back.
We gonna get to that because I gave him part of the benefit of the doubt, part of that I did. But we gonna get to that, yeah.
It's definitely been inspired. It's definitely been fire. Not gonna lie, I like the storyline. I definitely love the storyline.
Wise, did you say what you thought, or if you did, I missed it?
No, I didn't. I think it was. I think it's just for entertainment purposes. Because on my end of it, I don't think it's. The information is cool, But by it being y'all making a prequel so late in the series that all the franchise already pretty much is done with, to me it's kind of pointless. But so like, I guess the story behind it is cool, but again, we do know what happens at the end of the day. We all know that Obi-Wan does survive all of this. You know, the kids survive all of this and they end up growing up. So we do know. I'm not saying it's pointless, but
no, but that's
it's
a
cool.
real point though. That's kind of the opening point that I guess we can start off as. So like,
It's cool for the entertainment part, but as far as like,
but it's like it doesn't
like,
have any stakes. It's like some
It
of the
don't have-
weight ain't done because you know all of these people grow up and get old and die, not here, not anywhere near here.
Right. So, man, if y'all bringing Vader out, if you just getting into the Star Wars series, you don't know anything about it, this is cool. This is perfect for you. And you can learn about everything else that happens afterwards. But seeing how Star Wars is what, a 40-year-old franchise, and everybody that watches this knows about this, even the comic book wise, it's cool. It's cool for information. It's cool for entertainment. But as far as like going anywhere past that, y'all gonna make more seasons of a prequel. Y'all wasting time with me.
All right, so cool. Yeah, we can start there. But yeah, that was kind of the initial point that I was coming in at. Because it's like you said, if you a Star Wars head to some degree and you know the story, you know that this series is really kind of not an endpoint, but if you were tracking Obi-Wan Kenobi's life across the whole Star Wars universe, this would be like the 70% mark of his life. Because the original series, all you getting is old Ben Kenobi when he like 60. And he's about 40 something here. So this is, gradually transitioning into that point. Kind of, I guess, sets up the question, one, for the seasons thing. Is this something you want to see more seasons of? Because I guess the problem that you have, or that you eventually start to run into, maybe not run into, but it's like a decision you got to make if you're writing all of this. So like in the original Star Wars franchise, you know that Obi-Wan gets killed by Darth Vader. He goes with Luke and they in the Death Star, they attempting to rescue Princess Leia. He goes off his last little showdown to close out that chapter of, a demon that he kind of helped create in a sense, and basically ends up dying because, he's old at that point and Vader's that nigga. But this is the series is basically, this is the closest thing to that event that we get in Obi-Wan's life. So basically the series takes place 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. So after Order 66 gets popped off, majority of the Jedi get killed by the Empire and they gradually just start their mass takeover of the galaxy.
They got their ass whacked.
They did, but they were always going.
They got their ass whacked.
Yeah, because it's like, well, the thing about that is the Jedi weren't in a good place when they got whacked.
They weren't.
Like even the peak of the Jedi isn't good. They were always kind of tripping on some things. They were overlooking stuff. They weren't keeping their eyes on evil to the degree that they should have been. They were just a little too pig-headed, which ultimately led to them ending up nearly exterminated. All of that to say, we know all of that happened. So it's like, how much space do you have to tell a story between that happening and old man Obi-Wan Kenobi? Like, if you wanted to see more seasons of this, how much time do we have before I'm like, all right, you ain't really supposed to get too many exchanges between him and Darth Vader between now and before he gets old. Like, you don't really see him as far as the original Star Wars story.
We go 3 seasons.
Think 3?
3 seasons of what though?
Hold on. I say 2. I'll say let it be a second season because I don't want to spoil nothing, but the way episode 6 ended, I feel like it should be another season. Yeah.
I personally
she only 10, so we don't meet Luke until he like 20 maybe. You know what I'm saying? 25.
No.
Story?
Like
I'm talking about the original story though. You feel me? Like
original Luke is like maybe 16.
Yeah, because he was
so we only got so much time
when the story first starts.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan's looking at him on that planet still.
Yeah, so and that's the other part of it. That's like you said, it's a problem. Like, granted, you can make a whole season and it don't cover nothing but the span of a couple of months. You don't have to make it years of time to be like, all right, Luke and them should be getting older. How much of this happened before you saw them again? But
I just think you should go 3 seasons for the
yeah,
simple
you
fact
could definitely find
you
some
can
way
do
to
the first-
plot out
so
some
season
small
2
adventures for Obi-Wan.
Right.
Sometime
So
like
season
this.
2 should be like a
year
time
adventure
skip.
span, and you could do like 2-3 seasons of it.
Yeah. Season
They
2 should be a
should've-
time skip. You go to when Leia and Luke go to teenage years, and then season 3 is when they adults, and you just like cut it out that when they find out Vader's their daddy and shit like that.
And even that becomes a little tricky because then at that point, are you going old man up? Why am I spacing his name? Obi-Wan? Because it's like you do it that way. Like you said, now both Luke and Leia are 10 years old, where the story is.
So you skip 6
Jump
years,
ahead
now they 16.
to when they 16. The problem with that is we should be getting ready to start up, Empire Strikes Back.
Bro.
And it's like, how
Y'all need
much
to get
context
Luke
before the movie start off do you want to start trying to fill in? Oh yeah, and this also happened. And oh yeah, and this also happened.
If we going that route, yeah, cool.
It's tricky.
But
It's
I'm
tricky.
just saying that I just think that'd be a good, like Watts was saying earlier, if you just now starting to figure out, I think if that's like how they should go with the time schedule of the series, if people are now just watching so because they don't know the backstory. I already seen it's a flashback, and
well, that's the thing. We never really had much backstory for Obi-Wan to begin with. That was
right.
kind
So
of a
I
lot
think
of
this is good. This is good, so we can actually see like after with the Anakin shit, and then what he was going through
Well, if that's
after.
the case, then why not do one with like Qui-Gon there? We don't have a backstory in Qui-Gon. We just know he was Obi-Wan's master.
Qui-Gon has a backstory. It's just not a film backstory.
I don't
That's
think
most
his
of the Star Wars
backstory
movies.
is pivotal as Obi-Wan's backstory with the connection with him.
Really?
In a way it is. In a way it is.
Because
a lot of
backstory
Qui-Gon's like mentality, a lot of his like values and shit, they kind of set the template for who Obi-Wan is as a character. Like a lot of who he was as a man came from Qui-Gon because he trained him. He was with him for most of his life. So he kind of set the morality. Even in the series, one of the first things that he say he's struggling with is that he can't talk to him through the Force, but he should be able to. So it's like he's definitely important because realistically, that's his father figure. Him and Anakin is like, for the most part, like Obi-Wan obviously raised Anakin, but like Qui-Gon was the one that picked Anakin up when he was a shorty and brought him into this. Like he wouldn't be in the Jedi Order if he didn't decide like, yeah, we probably should take this kid with us. Even Obi-Wan was like, no, we shouldn't. Leave this kid here. That's what we came here for. So it's like,
right.
It definitely matters, but it's just like, how much time do you want to give it? But it's like, Obi-Wan got enough stuff to go on in his life where you could definitely make more seasons of this.
I mean, I see you can do you could do a Qui-Gon Jinn like backstory doing the Obi-Wan series.
I would have taken I'd have taken a flashback episode just strictly dedicated to that.
Yeah, you could have did that. You want to make him right. Reason why I'm saying that is because it's more they doing this based off Obi-Wan and damn near Anakin.
Right, which is the more interesting story, obviously. Like, and that's the one that people want.
All right, I pose a question. Okay, question. How do y'all feel about them bringing Revis back and growing her up to where she
Bro, that shit was crazy, bro. Because after the shit that she seen and been through with Anakin, bro, when everybody get to that part, bro.
Nah. You would have thought that she wouldn't have liked the dark side, knowing that she literally just watched them all, annihilate all of her Jedi masters and everything.
We can't even
the dark side. That was the whole thing about it. Though. Yeah, none of them liked the dark side. With that. It's only a couple people Sith-wise that really liked the dark side. Even Anakin didn't, but he was desperate and he was scared. And he was in a weird place in his life. He thought his girl was finna die. It seemed like a means to an end. So I'm cool with that. Like most of the people that join the dark side, they do it because they got shit going on. They can't solve being good, and they're like, "Well, this." What I was trying to really
spoil it. She had a secret agenda about joining the Sith anyway.
Yeah, so it always all fear.
I'm telling you, it comes up, bro. It comes up.
Yeah, because me and D was talking about it.
Comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it's not like.
We'll get that. We'll get that. That's later. All of that to answer the question. It's interesting that she's here. But it's like the continuity thing, like I said.
It's still not relevant.
And no, it's not even that it's not relevant. It's the problem is when you start trying to tweak minute details in a story that was already written, it can start to get a little messy. And it's not that her presence or even anything about her is unimportant. She's a recognizable character within the franchise. It's a matter of her being here in this age and this much time. It's like, what are we doing? It starts to like ask the question, like, all right, well, you wasn't supposed to be here at this point, but you can flesh it out, I guess, if you want to explain it. It can start to complicate a story that's already written. So it's just like, they got to be careful bringing in people that either ain't supposed to be here yet or should be older or younger than they should be when they shouldn't be here. It'll start muddying the water eventually, but I think it's good.
So is that why you think they didn't take no other kids? They only did that for her?
Well, no, remember he killed the other kids, and then
all the kids didn't die. That's the first thing, and the other part of it. So like. The context for Order 66 is it was an order to annihilate all the active Jedi. Now, obviously, first and foremost, there were Jedi that weren't around when that happened. There was a decent population that just weren't there. They were off on otherworld missions. They were doing other things or just weren't around. So they didn't get everybody, but they got a sizable chunk. The thing about the kids is, yes, they killed all of. Well, I ain't gonna say they. Yes, Anakin killed all those kids.
Hey,
yes,
he was fucking them kids up, G. He came in on straight business on them kids.
Target practice, boy. That nigga was like,
yo. The context that they don't give in the original movies that they speak a little bit more on in the books and the comics is some of the kids get taken too. The plan is to murder all of the loyal Jedi to the Jedi Order, but it was a couple Jedi who saw what pretty much was like, I don't want to die, so this dark side thing, I could probably make it. That's where you see all the different little mini Sith people coming in and the Force sensitive people. It was a couple people who saw they was finna get mastered and was just like, all right, well, dark side it is, man. I'm not finna.
The reason why I like
what kind of bothered me about the Obi-Wan series? It was like everybody knew who the hell Obi-Wan was. It was like this famous motherfucker.
Yeah, right. He famous.
You gotta remember this old man Obi-Wan. Like, he's a master at this point. He's like 40. He's not
that. But it was just like, to me, I feel like it was just always too convenient for people to find him. For somebody that was always trying to be hidden, somebody always knew who the fuck this dude was, and it was just like,
I attributed a lot of that to the Rust thing, which I guess is a good transition that we can get into. How much excuse do you give Obi-Wan for being incompetent in this series as he is, despite the fact that he's been retired for about 10 years? Because in my personal opinion, regardless of that, he should not be this incompetent. A lot of the stuff I see him do, even if I decided you sat down for 10 years and didn't do anything related to training, to your senses, or any of that. If you was just meditating and watching Luke play in the sand every day for 10 years, that's fine. You should not be this weak and this incompetent.
So
I watched Leia as a 10-year-old have better wherewithal about it. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but my first thought comes to this situation. So when we ain't even really explained the story yet, but I'm just hopping here raw. That's how it's gonna work. So at one point, when Obi-Wan is dispatched to go find Leia after she is kidnapped and he finds her, they are hitchhiking and they get in the back of this dude who picks them up truck as they're trying to ride to the next town.
Frick, my man Frick.
Yeah. Frick.
And there are like 6 stormtroopers who are patrolling the area get picked up and hop in the back as well, which is fine. He has a nice backstory for who they are, why they're there, what they're doing, and everything. And then in mid-conversation, just because Leia interrupts him as they are talking, he calls this girl by her real name, Leia.
Yep.
And I got irritated to the point that I paused the episode at that point. I'm like, bro.
Hey, but y'all
can't dare just call that girl Leia with 6 stormtroopers sitting in front of your face. Obi-Wan Kenobi ain't doing this.
But look, let me just hear me out. When you watching the series throughout, you end up finding out that Obi-Wan is mentally beat up from what the fuck happened 10 years ago.
As he should be.
And not only is that going on now, he just found out that Anakin is alive. Not only has he been fucking sitting on this shit that he killed him for 10 years, he just found out this nigga's alive. So not only is that on his mind, he trying to keep his shit together, but he really can't. He's doing the best he can, but you're right. He hasn't trained in 10 years. he let the shit go because at the end of the day, he was still burdened with the fact that he used his powers to kill. He used his powers to kill fucking Anakin. He stopped.
And not even just used his powers. He was kind of one of the people that was directly responsible for Anakin falling to the dark side in the first place.
Yeah, and that shit killed him. Yeah, that shit was bothering.
Okay, so look, my standpoint on it is that I think Obi-Wan should have been doing some type of training. For the simple fact is, you knew they were hunting Jedi, and you know who you are, and you know some eventually time somebody gonna catch up with you. Either it could be a stormtrooper who know who you are, might even play stupid. It'd be like, oh, okay, excuse me, radio in. And
I'll even offer you a secondary point of that as the rebuttal. Case for them. At one point in time, Obi-Wan openly acknowledges that he had intention to train Luke at some point in the future. That was something he was planning to do. Who the fuck was you finna train in the condition that you was in? Luke would have been piss poor as Luke would have been trash. Luke would have been like the job, the little fake Jedi that they run into, running them little schemes in the little area. I think I am. That would have been Luke on Tatooine.
All right, Wes, go ahead with your standpoint.
So here's my thing. Why did he ask Yoda how to speak with his old master if he was never finna try to do it anyway until he met and saw that Anakin was back alive? Well, that's the only time we see him try to do it when he's on the ship.
That's the only time they say it. They imply later with something they say that he tried a couple times in the period of time since then, but it wasn't working for some reason. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt that Obi-Wan had a lot of PTSD after Order 66 and everything. Not even just in the addition of Padme dying and Anakin, he assumed he killed him. All the Jedi dead. Everybody's in the wind, and you basically sitting on a sand planet watching a baby, hoping everything works out. So I would give him the benefit of that with that to even say that maybe he has some blockages mentally he ran into after all of that. He just really couldn't connect.
It ain't no maybe. It is. It's not a maybe. That's what.
No, I'm saying maybe because I wasn't there and they choosing to tell me this happens now. Up until this point, we didn't hear nothing about Obi-Wan getting weak in his old age or anything like that. Even old man Ben Kenobi was holding his own against Darth Vader before he got distracted and got sliced in half. So I ain't finna accept this mid part of his life. He just don't know what's going on. But I'm giving him some credit because he had a very tough series of events. He had a very tough series.
Fuck that. No. Fuck that. Out of Order 66, man, if you knew they were killing Jedi and you was finna hop your motherfucking ass on a spaceship and go hide on the planet, first thing in my mind, I'm finna start training. Because they not finna just bring one person. They finna bring
at the very least, I'm gonna be in shape if I look outside and there's 20 storms.
But I'm not thinking like that.
You stretch real quick.
No, what you mean?
He was being a bitch.
1 second.
Thank you.
He was being a bitch.
I'm thinking like that, bro, because you have to think like that. You can't just run away on a distant planet and not train. The Sith connections through all planets.
That's what the fuck he did.
Okay,
but he's sorry for it, bro. He's sorry for it.
But listen to what I'm saying.
All we can really chalk it up to at this point is acknowledge that Obi-Wan made a terrible decision.
Facts, like D said, Obi-Wan was acting like a...
Now, I'm with you. I don't think Obi-Wan Kenobi, I
don't know this
Kenobi is taking a 10-year break from training. Especially not if you're planning to train the next gen. Luke might be the last Jedi left that you're planning for the future. You need to be in at least serviceable place to make sure he can keep going with you. The way this look, if you would have trained Luke would have been mid-average and probably died trying to go fight his dad.
Mid-average?
He would have died like that. Instead of losing an arm or a hand, bro, he would have lost his whole head.
He'd have lost a leg. He'd have been rolling around in there, force pushing a wheelchair and shit.
I bet. Okay, watch.
All right, so hold on. Let's pause it. Because we've done a lot of jump around. We still ain't actually opened up what the show's about. So let's jump back to the premise. All right, so we are 10 years removed from Order 66, when majority of the Jedi have been killed. And basically, we found ourselves following the Grand Inquisitor, which is the the one of the main battalion leaders.
Yeah, I forgot.
Force user that's on the dark side. He's leading the charge under Vader to find any lingering force-sensitive people in the world.
Well, no, he wasn't even the Grand Inquisitor at the time, bro. Was just the Inquisitor.
Was he?
Nah, he was the Grand.
No, he was.
He was.
The
They
Grand
said he
Inquisitor
was.
didn't
He was.
off, and then that's how the position opened up for Reva and a couple of them to possibly go for third sister and them. Like that's how they, because the Grand Inquisitor, does he end up dead or something? He died.
Yeah, Reva killed him.
Yeah,
she
Reva killed him.
Yeah, but at the start of the show,
and
he's there. He's still alive.
Wait, so
Yeah,
at the
he's
start
still
he was the Grand Inquisitor at the start of the show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Grand Inquisitor.
I thought he was just the regular Inquisitor and Reba was the third sister, and then he had to
No, they just
trying to
Then
get
they had
her.
the fifth brother too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fifth brother was there. Yeah, they were all underlings of the Grand Inquisitor, who he was at that time. That's how the position was open at the first.
No,
point.
baby, I'm not sick.
Starts
Gotcha.
lobbying like, if you do what you need to, you can have it. Otherwise, they
Don't
wouldn't
get
be in
wrong.
a position to begin with. So
I think
he
he
was
got killed,
alive.
baby.
It's just she killed him, which is another thing I got a question about when we get to it. That was a very indiscreet murder that just nobody looked into, nobody cared.
Bro,
It's the leader of one of your factions. You don't care. He just didn't come back yesterday. I don't know.
I want to know, why is this the first time we ever see the Grand Inquisitors? We don't see him no movies previous or after. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's
So
why
all
they
of them just die in
the
the,
old
in
Star
the time
Wars
that we don't know?
franchise with the original ones, when you following Palpatine and Vader when they're kind of, I guess you call them in their peak, when they're running everything, you only ever see them as the main antagonists. And then it's a
But
bunch
you
of
took the game now.
But it is always a question because there's definitely a lot more people underneath Vader.
Yeah, there has to be.
Hell yeah.
Not even just has to, there were. Like he had force sensitive people and Jedi that he brought with him.
This one.
There was other people around, but we focused on, it's 3 movies. They was trying to keep the focus on a small cast. It is what it is. I get it though. So we got the Grand Inquisitor, we got fifth brother and third sister. And basically they starting off, oh shit, they go that time. That's cool. At least we caught it. I'll take it again. So basically, we open up and they're gradually doing what the ongoing mission is. They're hunting down any remaining Jedi. Now, at this point in time, they openly give us some context that Reva, third sister, has been overly obsessed with hunting down Obi-Wan Kenobi, specifically herself.
Obsessed.
Everybody, as you imagine, would be, because of the remaining Jedi that are still alive that you're aware of. Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi are the 2 most powerful people left within the universe of remaining people that you know about. Everybody else is either a lower Jedi that didn't really make it all the way to Master, or just some Force-sensitive kids that are just gradually figuring some shit out. But the point is, he's gradually killing every Jedi because that's what you would do in this position. If you want to try to stay in power and these are the people that can oppose you, if they ever get enough reps behind them, you probably make sure they don't ever grow up. So that made sense. So they're running around, they're on a planet, and they end up in a bar, and they gradually just chastising some of the customers because I guess or some type of heads up that a Jedi was there. He was being hidden by the people around. So they rough up a couple people in the bar, if my memory serves, and the Jedi ends up revealing himself because he uses the Force to save the guy. Which obviously, I guess you do maybe in that situation. I don't know if I would reveal myself. Right,
so y'all would have okay, let me ask you about that. So you would have, in that situation, you would have just let folks just be cooked?
Yeah. I mean, I can do more good here if he's the one person dies and I live. I know that's selfish at the moment, but can't none of them do anything. I'm the Jedi. We in the danger at this point. I can't do my life, boy. I ain't got a Padawan learner to take it up for me. It's gonna avenge me in 25 years. It's just me out here.
That's what I'm saying. So he would have been cooked fucking with me.
Yeah, might have. Everybody be quiet. No one's gonna say something. So if he didn't reveal himself, they probably would have just maybe choked up dude and left. But the Jedi reveals himself and basically they get on his ass and he runs off. And if I'm not mistaken, fifth brother is kind of stopping Reva, third sister, from pursuing him. It's just let him go. Don't worry about it. It's a small fry anyway. He's not anybody of note. It's not that important. They basically pretty much killed enough Jedi at this point where they're not overly worried unless it's a big dog that they run into. It's it's fine. He ain't gonna do nothing. The rebellion's not gonna start with that kid. And it don't, because that kid ends up dead. So he gets away, and basically then we transition and we end up with old man Ben Kenobi, or old man Ben. Not quite
in his cave, man.
working on old man Ben. He's no longer Obi-Wan. He's just, and I like that because that's who he is. When we meet him in the original Star Wars series, it makes sense he would have dropped the name Kenobi probably as soon as he came back to Tatooine. Everybody knows that name. So we got Obi-Wan there, and he's doing what Obi-Wan does and apparently has been doing for the last decade. He's just watching over Luke, making sure Luke's cool while Luke does his little, bullseye, womp rats in the T-16 eventually. He getting ready to start doing that good stuff. He's just being a kid, and Obi-Wan's watching him because that's what he told everybody he would do. Basically, the transition to that, or not transition, we get a little context. Obi-Wan's got the PTSD. He's still dealing with the stress of the situation, not being able to save Anakin or Padme or anybody really. Obi-Wan is very down on his luck. It has been 10 years of him stewing, and nothing has happened, thankfully. And events of the world are about to start catching up to him again because he's struggling because he's trying to talk to Qui-Gon, and it's not really working. And I imagine with where he's at in his life at this point, talking to Qui-Gon would probably be useful because
if he was practicing the Force, he'd be able to talk to him.
That and Luke and Yoda can talk to the Force Ghost. They've been shown they have the affinity to do that. I guess that's like the Grand Master level stuff. I think that's
Anakin
like
Anakin can do that shit too, can he?
Yeah, I believe Anakin.
Yeah, Anakin.
It's one of the Anakin was goated with power. He was just gifted.
If
everything didn't go wrong, Anakin would have been the Yoda of the next generation.
Oh man,
that man didn't even have a daddy, bro. The Force was his daddy. Like that man.
The Force shows him as the son.
The Force fell in love. As soon as I seen Anakin, he the one right here.
Right. So basically, after watching Luke for a couple hours,
your soul is mine.
That's what he does. Obi-Wan goes off, and the little Jedi that got caught by the Inquisitors earlier, he basically sees Ben, and he figures out it's Obi-Wan. How he does, I don't know. His face still looks the same, minus that little beard. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like you said, it's like
nothing changed. Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. But yeah, he got his little cloak on. So when you put a hood on in a TV series, your whole face is going after that moment.
as him being a Jedi, wouldn't you be able to feel that shit? Like
that's the other part that
shit?
To me, I assumed with that, and this is speculation. The show don't tell me this, so I'm not giving them the credit of saying this is a good story point. I'm just saying when I watched it, this is what I assumed. To me, I took it on as like Luke, even though I don't like Redford's in the new series of Star Wars movies. Like Luke did when he got old, I feel like Obi-Wan probably cut himself off from a large amount of the Force, and so he probably wasn't detectable like he generally would be if he was just out doing normal. I'm assuming that. They don't ever say that, so I'm not going to just give him the credit for that, but that's what I assume. Because otherwise, even a mid-tier Jedi, you a goat. I definitely should be like, damn, somebody powerful over here. I don't know who this is. Obi-Wan, is that you? No, I'm Ben, young brother. Don't worry about Ben.
Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here.
From Tatooine.
I got a problem with the other thing too, because the reason I was saying why I feel like everybody can find Obi-Wan is because that random ass kid they ended up stringing up. He found Obi-Wan like just walking through the town and automatically just knew who he was.
Yes.
Just walking
so that's the other part. They kind of imply it like they left the kid out there dangling as a little piece of bait. I'm like, oh yeah, we leave a struggling Jedi out there. Obi-Wan's gonna know. But then, like you said, that's the bigger problem. How would you know he's on Tatooine to find this kid?
Well, I think
you have the entire galaxy and nobody's seen him in a decade. You shouldn't assume he's here. And realistically, he shouldn't be here. If I'm Obi-Wan, like to set this up, and this is going back to Revenge of the Sith, I'm not going back to Anakin Skywalker's home planet to take his son and hide. I'm probably going to where the Wookiees are, and I'm gonna chill out with them and raise him there. And just deal with the fact I gotta raise him.
I'm gonna go chill with Chewbacca and his family. We should go chill with Chewie and his
somebody. I'm just like, you literally went to his father's homeland. I'm irritated on both parts. I'm mad at Anakin for never checking there. I'm mad for Obi-Wan for going there. It's like if you go back to the scene of the crime after you broke in somewhere, like, why are you back here? Like, I don't know.
But yeah, but during the time when Anakin didn't check, though, he was in that hyperbolic.
He was in the hyperbolic chamber.
He was, getting ready to take over the galaxy and get fitted for his suit.
Right.
That shit took 10 years, but okay.
The big suit, it takes a minute. You got to get it fitted right.
I guess.
Boy, the nigga had his legs and face burnt. Boy, whole body burnt.
Arm was off.
But you finna tell me I got the most high.
Time, we're gonna do a quick wrap up for that episode 1. So basically at the end, The kid gets found out after he finds Obi-Wan. He asks him for help because that's what you would do in that situation if you're young and impressionable and the world is killing off your kind and you just find one of the masters left in the galaxy. You ask him for help. And Obi-Wan's like, nah, I don't do that no more, bro. So, good luck. I was like,
Toss
damn,
a
all right.
lightsaber in the sand somewhere.
Couldn't have gave Shorty some pointers or something. He was just like,
Man.
I don't do that anymore, man. So I'm banned now. I just
Told his ass he was
I
I
live
live
in
in
the
the
beach
cave.
shop and I go home and I just watch this kid play in the sand. That's my life. So good luck
And
with
I
that
put
that.
up some damn salmon. Like, what the fuck?
Remember the bob
bro?
and weed,
Damn.
kid, don't let him catch you slipping. And the kid's like, all right, I guess. So the kid leaves and he gets caught and ends up getting killed because obviously. And Obi-Wan sees this.
Because obviously.
Yeah, because he's young and dumb and got the force and they picking off shorties like flies, like he was gonna die. He should have died when they first caught him. As soon as he got away in my head, I'm like, this kid's gonna die in this episode.
He should have still been in the damn town, but hey, whatever.
Or that. So basically the episode wraps up with after the kid gets found out, Reva, third sister, rediscovers that Kenobi is alive, he's on Tatooine. And basically, they set this grand plan in motion to try to capture him because Vader does not want anyone more than this one person, which he wouldn't.
She
because
set
this
it up by
person-
herself.
That too.
Yeah.
So basically, she puts out this like all-call bounty hunter thing and puts his face out like, "Hey, Obi-Wan's alive and he's here," which irritated me because I'm like, "Where'd you get this updated picture of his face to put on this bounty poster?" But I'm like, "All right, whatever, we here now." And basically, they start a hunt where Obi-Wan now has to be running for his life because everybody is on his ass. So that's generally where we leave off for the first episode. I'll pause it right there because this thing got like 60 seconds left on it. And we're going to have to restart this call to re-record again. We got that done. So good job, guys.
Elijah, you a bitch.
Yeah.
Whoa!
It's still
All right. Picking back up where we left off, minus a crew member, but that's okay. He'll be back after he done stuffing his face. We were rounding out the end of episode 1 of Kenobi, and basically where we left off here is the stinger of this scene, which kind of sets up the initial conflict, is Leia gets kidnapped, and Obi-Wan is dispatched out by the powers that be to try to go find her. Now, his first response to this when he's asked is, well, I'm watching Luke and doing the Luke stuff, which is a fair point that he made. I'm like, that definitely was your job. And he's like, well, what about the other kid? I'm like, I mean, that was kind of y'all's fault. That y'all dropped the ball with that one. I don't think it's fair for you to make him be his assignment because y'all lost later. But whatever. He's there. He gets sent out, and Obi-Wan has to dust off that lightsaber and put on that old shrouded Jedi robe and head out into the universe looking to find young Leia. So basically, we leave off with the scene of him embarking out on his journey and head into transition episode 2, where he's basically tracking the kidnappers, looking around, looking for evidence for where the girl could have ended up. Because one of the things that I forgot about the Star Wars universe, not that it's like a thing, not I look over, but human trafficking, not even trafficking, slavery is a big thing in the Star Wars universe. A lot of slavery is going on. And
You can say human trafficking.
that, not even just because Leia is who she is and valuable because she's a princess. People just be moving bodies and moving people around in this universe. So realistically speaking, it's uphill battle to begin with. And if this is anything but a TV series, he probably wouldn't have found Leia. She'd have just been in the wind. Just looking in the galaxy, he happened to get lucky. But he lands on the planet and he meets the imitation Jedi that we run into, Haja, who basically is running a little racket on the planet they own. I think it's called Dayu, something like that.
Dayu. No, Dayu.
It's
Dayu.
Dayu? Okay.
Dayu.
They own Dayu, and he runs into this man who's basically running this little scheme where he's impersonating a Jedi. And what he's doing is he's essentially like a smuggler. And basically he's helping people who are, looking to get to different sectors of the galaxy or who are, kind of like refugees in a sense, and he's kind of working in a way of a little space version of an underground railroad. He's helping people get rides across places because
What you just compared this to?
it's a space underground railroad. He's smuggling slaves and slave-like characters across the galaxy. That's what I said. So
Carry on. Carry on. carry on. I just wanted to make sure for my justification, that's what I heard.
You heard correctly, is what I said. That's right. I'm calling Haja the Rosa Parks of the Star Wars universe.
This nigga compared Harriet Tubman, man.
It was. That was
Did
the
say
worst part.
Rosa Parks. Oh my God.
So he is smuggling slaves. He's doing good despite the fact that he's doing bad. Well, not bad, but he's making people pay him. Which, in the grand scheme of things, he's finding rides for people in a world where it's not easy to get across borders. So it ain't the worst thing. He just want a couple credits. He didn't ask for
taking all their money. Is all
he literally just says,
Hey, look,
I just want some credit.
Wait, hold on.
Some change.
Didn't bro have kids with him too? That was basically kind of bounty hunters that got, they was looking for the rewards and shit too.
Yeah. He had a little group. This ain't a racket you could run by yourself for what he's doing. He's finding spaceships and he's getting people in routes that they normally wouldn't have access to. He's doing a good job smuggling. And then Obi-Wan encounters him because he's looking around and basically he gets a tip that there's a Jedi on the planet. And like you would do in that situation, being a Jedi yourself, you would seek them out. Maybe they got some answers, or they can help you get a general idea of what's going on, or at the very least, it's a place you can check off. So Obi-Wan seeks this guy out, and basically he kind of clocks him immediately. The dude's not a Jedi, which I don't know how so many people fell for, because bro's acting as a Jedi's ass. But it's also been about 10 years since the Jedi have been prominent. You probably could finesse some people into believing you were one with some base level knowledge on how they work. And, is it not the droid? You can get a little of that, and people, okay, sure, why not?
Hey, man,
so,
that rinky dink ass operation.
Right, but it was working.
He got on the phone and said, this is
right. It was terrible acting, but he's producing results. So at the very least, I understand the people that are falling for it. So Obi-Wan, he immediately knows that this is some nonsense and basically just starts grilling the guy about why he's doing this and what's really going on, what's his motive. And once he figures out what he's doing, he starts asking him logically, have you heard anything about this girl being kidnapped? Do you know anything about this kid being missing? And Haja, because he's kind of ingrained in the underworld, and I guess when you're smuggling, doing stuff like that, you keep your ear to the ground about stuff. He hears a little bit of something and gets Obi-Wan to lead, basically, for where he can start looking. And basically, Obi-Wan, through the series of looking, finds the place where Leia is being held captive, goes in, he gets her out, and they exit. Now, this scene is kind of I guess ironic is the word you could use for it, because in the original Star Wars franchise, Leia gets kidnapped. Well, I don't want to say again because this happens before that. That's the part about how this is confusing me to discuss. In the original movie that takes place in the future, Leia gets kidnapped and Obi-Wan gets sent out again to go find her. So it was a bit ironic about
with
that.
Luke, yeah.
In similar fashion, like when he first gets her, is a little bit of pushback, because when he gets there, this kid's like, you're a little old. Are you sure? I'm like, shorty, you in jail. How about you just go with my mans and get away? Why are you critiquing this right now? Like, Leia at 10 is a very smart ass little girl.
She's trying to bargain her freedom.
Something, and I would very much not be bargaining at this point. So basically, after he gets her out, they do a bit of running, and the main stinger, which I guess we can transition to for a good conversation point, is third sister corners them and basically evacuates this general area where Obi-Wan and Leia are, and they're with another character that Obi-Wan decides to send Leia off with, because he knows he's not going to be able to outrun her.
So I got something to say on that, bro. Leia pissed me off in that whole damn near that whole episode, bro.
Leia's a little annoying as a whole.
If you don't listen to this,
it gets on my nerves, and I don't like her as a little kid at all.
Like, bro, if you don't listen to this man, he's trying to save.
As an adult that is fighting to save your life in a situation where
you're running into more bounty hunters.
Are you sure about that? I don't know if we should be doing this. I'm like, how about you're 10 and shut up? You
And the
don't
fact
even know
that that was
where
her
we are.
first time off the planet, bro. She had
Like, how
never
about
been
you
off that
trust an
planet
adult
before.
with the experience and you just stop talking so much?
Huh,
Like,
you can use the Force. You lied to me. I'm gonna run away.
yeah, I'm like, I knew you were a Jedi. I can't trust you. Do you even know my father? No, I just broke you out and wasted time almost dying out of the goodness of my heart. I definitely didn't even.
I just saw them bring a little kid into the planet. It's like, let me go ahead.
And now that I'm thinking about it,
Captain Save
about
it.
the scene that previously irritated me most about that to begin with, it's her talking too much and overly asking questions of them stormtroopers that even puts Obi-Wan in a position to slip up and say her name. If she just shut up and took that ride until they got off that truck, that probably wouldn't have happened. So all of that to say, for my, even though we critiqued the whole series, yeah, I don't like Kid Leia. I don't like Kid Leia at all.
But if that didn't happen, they wouldn't have met. They wouldn't have met the lady that saved them.
Right.
I forgot her name, but they wouldn't have met her.
It's a rock at a hard place type of thing.
Yeah.
What I was getting to was basically, so third sister corners Kenobi after he done sent Leia off to go hide. And basically, she reveals a little bit of a monologue of information that we know, because, we have seen the movies and we got the outside information, but Kenobi being, 10 years removed from any of the news, she tells him, one, that first and foremost, she was an apprentice and a student, a Jedi student, which he probably could have figured out from her general, acrobatic skills and, tenacity. She seemed like she got some sensitive powers, even if you didn't know she was. And the second thing, that Anakin is alive. And Obi-Wan just kind of freezes at that point because he just knew he killed his little brother 10 years ago. And come to find out, he's apparently been alive for this last decade and been tearing through the galaxy looking for you.
He's trying to kill your mother.
He's looking for you. And Obi-Wan just kind of sits there and, he locks up for a second. He doesn't really respond, but, he's very clearly, taken back by it, like, oh my God type of thing. Which I guess in the moment you would be, but you also fighting for your life right now. And you ain't really got time to process that. And it kind of speaks to my point that I kept making about I really don't like how not good at handling situations Obi-Wan Kenobi is in the series. Like,
and bro used the Force again. He figured out he can use the Force again in that.
Yeah,
that episode.
Again, that was another one. I don't know if he didn't think he could, or maybe he did, because again, they don't explain that part, so we kind of just got to guess. But yeah, at one point, because she stupidly does this, Leia runs away because Obi-Wan shows her he's a Jedi, and she's like, "You lied. I don't trust that. I don't know why." Granted, Jedi aren't around anymore, and whatever stories they're getting told about them at this point, maybe they're not the best. But at the same time, this is the only person that's rescuing you right now. Let it go. Let the fuck go. But she doesn't.
I'm hope to live a little bit.
Right. So she runs off, being a kid in a community she knows nothing about, no idea where to go. She just heads into a crowd and starts running. And ends up on some rooftops, just running for her life. And did she fall or did she jump?
She fell off the building, bro. Fell off
the building.
Wait, no.
No, she fell off. No, she fell off, bro. She didn't jump. Did she fell off or did she jump? No, because Obi tried to save her. She fell off and was hanging on Obi hands, and she slipped.
You might be right, but I thought she jumped off trying to see if she could jump to the other side.
Either way, Leia thought she could.
Either way, she is dumbass.
So Leia's falling, and Obi-Wan is probably maybe 20 feet away from her at this point. And this is basically the scene where, like, if you got some general Star Wars understanding, you expect him to use the Force to catch her, because, otherwise Leia dies right here, and we all know Leia don't die right here, so something should happen. And it does.
Hit that ground, she would have been OVA.
Man. And Obi-Wan catches her, uses the Force, and snags her at the last second. And this is the scene that kind of the transition after me for how they cut it was a little confusing for me. So she falls off the building, or jumps, either way, and he catches her with the Force and gradually kind of floats her down to the ground where she gets up.
Are you going to say how you get down there so fast?
Yes, that was the first part.
Y'all
were running up that building. It was like 3 stories. That was a whole scene of y'all running up that building. Literally seconds after she touched the ground, he's hitting the corner like, oh shit, you okay? Then the second part after that bothered me. No one says anything to any of them, and they just walk away. There's a whole crowd of people behind them to just watch this little girl float down and touch the ground. And this old man come grab her and dip off in the middle of the scene where they were already getting chased by Inquisitors and whoever other bounty
And all
hunters.
them bounty hunters.
And what happened to the rest of the bounty hunters? What the rest of them
It's a
was?
question. I assume some of them was in that crowd, and the next scene was going to be them running after them. But literally, he picks up like, we should go. And then they just kind of walk off. I'm like, you should go? Don't these people want to stop y'all? No one stops.
Ain't that when the fake ass Jedi gave them the directions to get to the getaway ship?
Yeah, the storage unit ship.
And basically from there, Haja, the fake Jedi, as Dee said, pops back up and he decides he needs to start making amends or doing some good. He says something like he's been doing bad stuff all his life, and this is the day he turns it around, which I had some issue with because you've been freeing slaves, bro. Like, you charging a little change, but it's an economy. You got to make something. You were doing okay. You're lying about being a Jedi. That's not the worst thing in the world of what's going on. You might be a little force sensitive at some point. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, all I have to say, they get away. They get the directions on to get to the ship. Haja basically gives them their escape route to run. But Reva is still on their ass chasing them, and it doesn't block their coming away. A little scene about her expressing that Anakin is still alive, and all of that happens. And basically, the Grand Inquisitor shows up, and they planning to snatch up Obi-Wan. But Reva, seeing this as an opportunity to start climbing the corporate ladder,
Snake my man's out, boy. Snake him out.
And gives him a nice little glory hole with her lightsaber in his stomach.
Glory.
And just leaves him there. She just kills him, like, very openly. And there are no repercussions to this whatsoever. Nobody even asks her what happens to him. They almost move on as if the Grand Inquisitor dying was just something they expected to happen to them.
But I can't.
Go ahead.
Nah, I can't even say it. But it's some shit that's gonna pop up later in the season that niggas gonna be like, oh fuck that. Whoa.
All right, so let me ask y'all the question though. How do y'all feel about them not, like, when she went back to the ship to talk to Vader or whatever, how y'all feel about nobody questioning that? Like, would y'all would have questioned like where he at?
What? Hell yeah, that's a Grand Inquisitor.
He's the Grand Inquisitor. Like, if anything, I'm expecting him to be the person to give me the status report on what happened down there. And she just shows up like about the Grand Inquisitor. The Grand
So
Inquisitor
what's how you feel about that?
I'm like, he's not? He's the Grand Inquisitor. What do you mean he doesn't matter? Like, I get you looking for Kenobi, but it's like one of your whole right-hand guys that just went missing.
You said what, Wes?
I said I thought she said something about Obi-Wan killing him. Like,
she doesn't even get a chance to. Like, literally, that's what annoyed me about it. She was going to try to cover her tracks, which I at least appreciate from a tactical point, because at least it shows me if you're going to kill somebody, you're going to try to cover it up that it wasn't clearly obviously you. They don't care. Vader's like, don't worry about it, whatever. Kenobi's what we're worried about. I'm like, but you don't even want to at least know what happened? No, don't worry, that's cool. It's fine. We were looking for a new Grand Inquisitor anyway. So
would y'all would have dabbled a little more into that, though?
Into what?
So if y'all say y'all like fifth brother, fourth, whatever the fuck going on, one of the Inquisitors. Reva come back and say the Grand Inquisitor dead. Would y'all would have like actually dabbled into trying to investigate that murder? Y'all would have been like, where he at? Or just like, or y'all
didn't even say he was dead.
No, she did.
She did?
Yeah.
She said the Grand Inquisitor died, and then, like Wes said, she was literally just going to start her lie, I assume, to cover her tracks about what happened. And they literally
and then Vader stopped him. Yeah. So I'm saying, so would y'all would have
Vader knew though.
Well, yeah. If it was, so would y'all try to go back? Would y'all try to go back?
They didn't say that either. So that's us guessing.
So would y'all try to go back and prove his killing? Like, how did he die or something? Because you're gonna see a lightsaber hole in his stomach. It's only two people that was there.
As casual as they responded, I'm honestly at this point pretty certain they didn't even go pick that nigga's body up. They might have left him where she dropped him, and they just called the soldiers that was alive and moved on. And it's like,
she put his ass
left him there to get eaten by whatever to eat the bodies on that planet.
I would have
It
tossed
just was
Ed.
like no one cared or addressed it at all. And it was strange because like after that, what's that? Is it fifth brother,
Yeah,
third
yeah.
sister? They having this whole little inner term quarrel with both of them trying to vie for Vader's attention to get the Inquisitor spot. So it's like clearly the position's worth something. Like that position within the Star Wars lore is right directly under Vader for his immediate commanders. That was supposed to be worth something. So that's why I'm like, it was weird that bro just died. And
Ain't that his second in command? Or his
yes,
third?
bro. Like that literally. He sent them to go get Kenobi under his supervision. Like, this is the guy. Like, he's like, that's fine, he's dead. Whatever, stuff happens. People die all the time in the galaxy, B.
We not gonna use that.
People die every day, B.
People die in the galaxy every day, B.
By lightsabers, cuz.
Niggas get stabbed by lightsabers every day.
So that goes to the point to where they get off the ship to Daiyu or Daira, and they go to the storage planet where they meet Frick.
And then that's
So
why
how?
Planet.
Yeah. So how do y'all feel about them going to this planet? Is like shit but a wasteland, and then he's explaining to Leia about how the landscape was, and then he starts seeing visions of Anakin.
Well, I'll ask a question even before we get into that, just because of where episode 2 leaps off, it ends at, because that's going into 3. So the end of 2, after all that happens and they get away, is Vader wakes up. How do we feel about what we've seen of Darth Vader so far in this, having him back? Because this is the first actually, not even the first. This is the only Darth Vader content we've gotten aside from that one scene in Rogue One.
What the hell?
The one scene in Revenge of the Sith at the very end. He just turned green again?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. This motherfucker is Larry Houdini. This motherfucker is Larry Houdini.
I had to move, bro. They was making too much noise outside.
That's fair. I'll take it. So yeah, how do y'all feel about Vader being? This is the first Vader in an extended sense that we've.
I'm gonna keep it a bean. The way they like put that together, bro, was so cold. And the way they introduced him to cold, they showed him in the little hyperbolic joint, put the joint on with the mask, and all you heard was a little. I was like, man.
Oh, that goat woke up.
I was upset that this was the only shit we seen. Like Vader was so big and huge in the Star Wars and on the first 3, you know what I mean, episodes they dropped 5, 6, 7. He was fucking huge, bro. Or 4, 5, 6, whatever it was. Like, dude was such a big part of that we didn't see one fucking thing ever until and then when Luke and him, you know what I'm saying, have that little battle. I'm excited.
I felt like it was part of it was them trying to keep some of the mystique around the character because he was so big, which I can respect to a certain extent, because you know you never want to overly put your boss villain out there too much where you see him, because I guess it kind of makes him seem a little bit less threatening. And I guess seeing little glimpses of Vader, you like, oh shit, Vader's here. But the counter to that is, like you said, he's the main guy. You really should get more of him in this overall franchise. You get the appearances in the original, like you said, episode 4, 5, and 6. You don't see him at all in the first 3 episodes until the very end of episode 3, and then that's the end of the movie. You get, I think, 1 minute and 30 seconds of movie time in Rogue One when he randomly shows up, and that's only because the movie was about the Death Star getting stolen. He just randomly is in that. And then there's this. So it's like, for him to be the guy, like when you think about Star Wars as far as the antagonist, yeah, probably a good percentage are going to say the Emperor, but the rest are going to say Darth Vader, even if not more. So it's like, it was a little bit off-putting that you don't see him more. But I'm glad in this series they at least cared enough to be like, all right, well, we really need to make it. We're more than Dark Sister and these other big characters. We need to be clear. Darth Vader's around at this point in time. He's very much alive. He's very much strong and running shit. Probably try to insert him in as much as we can. So I was glad about that for what I got.
I also
this is Prime, right? Like that's Prime Vader power, like right here.
Yeah, this is
because realistically, the suit helped him be a little stronger, But the first couple of years with it, he was still kind of figuring it out, and then they were adding stuff to it as time went on. Like the first version of the suit wasn't the best one. But this is 10 years in Prime. Like this should be realistically now and the start of the Star Wars 4, 5, and 6. This is the strongest Darth Vader should be. You don't get much stronger than this except for just taking more control of the galaxy.
Didn't the suit help him breathe too?
As strong as he should be.
Yeah, the suit helped him breathe because he couldn't breathe because of the lava.
A lot of other internal organs got destroyed when he got
Yeah, because the lava burnt half his stomach off, which was like his lungs and his liver.
Lungs, digestive tract, and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Do y'all like how they kept going to the flashbacks?
Yeah, I didn't mind the flashbacks. I think they gave us more stand view on like how the whole thing is supposed to play out. I even like the flashbacks with Obi-Wan having flashbacks of like Anakin, like with the training of Anakin, and then he telling them how Anakin was and stuff like that, which was dope.
Because again, that stuff we don't get either, which is another kind of an issue. Anakin and Obi-Wan are supposed to have one of the best relationships within the Star Wars franchise. As far as what you see, like it's Anakin and Padme, it's really them two. You could argue Qui-Gon and maybe Obi-Wan, but that was kind of short-lived. Maybe a couple others, but it's not a lot of great relationships in Star Wars. People don't really fuck with each other in Star Wars, and they don't talk. Everybody's very wooden, but these are one of the few ones that's it's supposed to be like real life, his little brother. And in the episodes 1, 2, and 3, despite the fact that they running around together, you don't get to see Obi-Wan train Anakin ever. There is not a single scene anywhere within the Star Wars franchise, unless you consider the Clone Wars stuff that we get, which is fine, but that's not movie stuff. He's not seen training him anywhere, and this is his whole Padawan. And granted, I get a lot of the Jedi training is on the job shit. Like, all right, we got a mission. We going to this planet. Figure this out. But you don't ever see this man helping him learn lightsaber moves. You don't ever see him do any force training with him. Nothing. He's either always scolding him or they running around. So I like the flashbacks in that, but it also irritated me that it made me realize I've watched 9 movies of this franchise for the main plot, and I've not seen this man train him in any of that. And I was like, that's annoying. That was really a drop ball on George Lucas's part, even before he sold.
I mean, but when they found him, they already knew he was cold, so I didn't think he did.
Yeah, but he was also a kid. Like, and then Qui-Gon dies, and Anakin's like 6. So it's like it's 10 years that Obi was training him that we don't ever see even that movie ends, and we stop right in at Clone Wars, and he's 16 now. And I'm like, damn. And you think in that movie it would be a flashback at some point, maybe a 12-year-old Anakin, and he's lashing out angrily and training with his little angry ass, and then Obi-Wan's trying to, you can't all be angry. You have to something that never happens. You get more training scenes for Rey and not Ben. You get more training scenes in this franchise with Rey and with Ben Solo and with Luke than you do with Darth Vader.
Yep.
You don't even see Palpatine training him.
All you see is them niggas fight.
That's it. Not even this is how you absorb the dark. This week I'm gonna teach you how to do lightning. Yes, I've been waiting on this one.
Side note, Anakin beat on Palpatine ass. Just let y'all know.
He didn't be. But yeah, kind of went off on a tangent with that. But yeah, all of that to just say, like, I like the flashback. Yeah, but I definitely found that interesting when I thought about it watching. I'm like, damn, this is the first time I'm really seeing Anakin get trained. That's interesting.
So we on episode 3 now, right?
Yes, we're on 3.
So how do y'all feel about finally seeing Vader say he's like, when they was hiding out from them, and Vader just popped on the scene, get the choking the life out of people?
That was what made me feel like whatever he thought Anakin was still around was gone. You know, if he ever thought that he could turn Anakin back to the light, he looked at that and was like, who the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't even know if he recognized him at that time.
Hey, he did Shorty bogus out that crib though when he grabbed the drug cat off the crib. Who fucking talking about? And just dropped on the ground. So yeah, he off to die.
And then snapped that little kid's neck bro. He went crazy, B. Like.
And then
I was there for all of it. I love the brutality.
I was
here. But the last gangster thing you saw Anakin do was tear through all them shorties, and that wasn't even before Vader. Technically, he was getting called Vader at that point, but I don't consider his ascension to Vader until the suit gets put on.
Facts.
So with that, that was like the first brutal thing for real you see him do. Like, he kills stormtroopers and random others around. That don't be meaning that much. This was a real brutal scene. So the transition from that, how do y'all feel about Obi getting his ass towed up and stabbed?
I ain't surprised. You see how he hesitated?
Yeah, bro. I knew.
bro.
That's what I said. He was being a bitch, bro. He getting his ass toe tagged.
He was not ready for that confrontation.
He was not ready at all.
He was not ready.
Got his ass drugged through the fire. Got his ass screamed through the fire.
You saw it in his face when Vader pulled up, though, too. He was like, you immediately saw in his face, he was just like,
he was shook.
Fear, bro.
He was shook.
Fear.
He was shook because he felt that power, and he was like,
He was shook.
I've not been saying. Anakin was nice when he was 20. I guarantee he's nice now.
What you finna say, D?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Even in this shit, the thing I didn't like is you didn't see Ben training at all. Even after he saw him, you didn't see him training at all to fight this nigga again. You didn't see that. You didn't see him doing no type of work, no nothing.
Only thing we saw was in the spaceship, him trying to talk to Qui-Gon. That was it.
At this point, or at least at that point when I was watching it, I assumed he was going to be trying to contact Qui-Gon with some advice on what he should do about this. Because he didn't feel he could physically beat him. So he was like, what can I do? And obviously,
only way he probably could have did that if he would have talked to Qui-Gon, he probably would have told him, you gotta like mentally.
I would have told him you gotta smoke him. Like we have to accept responsibility for this now.
You gotta kill him, bro.
We're the last Jedi Master walking around. We cannot allow our apprentice. Our apprentice is destroying the world. We gotta take responsibility for it.
But Obi-Wan knew he couldn't kill Anakin because he can't fuck with Anakin. Like when they was chasing him, he put the little red lightsaber out. Folks stood that was like shaking on his blue lightsaber like.
Man, bro, let's talk about how unintimidating that lightsaber didn't look. So first of all,
I ain't gonna lie, because all you see is the sword glow up. That's all you see is the lightsaber glow up.
That handle look rusty.
You don't see nothing else.
I'm like, Obi, I know you retired, but you could have at least been washing that thing. Come on, that's your lightsaber.
Boy, my man's out here fighting with two hands on the lightsaber. Anakin still out here with the one hand. Ain't fought in 10 years. Ain't fought in 10 years. Ain't even trained. With one hand out here cooking you.
I would not even be surprised if they said that was the first time he picked that lightsaber up since that 10-year period had happened when he got into that fight.
Well,
if he said I ain't touched this since Order 66, I would be like, yeah, look like it. Look like it.
Hey,
you looking terrible for him. Obi.
Your ass was rusty, B.
You are a master. Show some goddamn pride about yourself.
Let's be real though. Hey, Anakin was just toying with Obi-Wan at that point, bro. Because he really could have just used the Force and dragged him to him.
I mean, he told him as soon as he seen him, he's like,
he could have fucked him up.
He smelled that weakness on him as soon as he seen him.
He told me, you haven't been training Obi-Wan.
You ain't it right now.
That nigga said, now you about to feel my pain.
Hey,
on me.
Slowly drug his ass through that. Oh my God, bro.
Obi had one good chance to kill Vader, and it was young Anakin.
Hey, that big ass robot was cold though.
Hey, yeah, that robot
was cold.
Oh,
that big ass robot was cold.
I just think it was bogus though, because Anakin low-key was just towing him through that little fire. He slowly drug him through the fire, bro.
You got to get your get back. The last time you saw this dude, he took your legs and one of your arms. And your hair.
So how y'all feel about them putting him in a hyperbolic chamber?
I like it. I like it just to recover his arm. But
he don't come out of there with no synthetic robot arm that he didn't have before or anything like that. I'm cool. Because that's
I didn't mind.
Old man Ben Kenobi don't got no metal arm. So my first question gonna be what happened to the metal arm? So as long as they don't go that route. Matter of fact, I really don't even want any more metal arms. It's enough metal arms in Star Wars. Luke got one, Vader got one, one or two of them. Don't nobody else need to lose limbs in this franchise. They need to move away from that. You ain't gonna cut their head off. I don't want to see no more metallic vices or limbs getting put on.
Hey, why y'all think they didn't put Darth Maul in it?
I think they're waiting. And I think Darth Maul, if they decide to touch that again, is gonna be its own series. I think they know the properties and the names they got the people want to hear about. They gonna buy.
I ain't gonna lie, I would have loved to see him too. But it like we said, it was just about Obi-Wan and fucking Anakin at this point. So it wasn't even no point in putting him in.
The thing about the Maul thing is, if you do that now, then you gotta, not you gotta, but you do. So like, Maul was presumed dead. Oh, we'll start there with the Phantom Menace. He dies at the end. Obi-Wan kills him. But you don't ever see the body again, which is fine because it's a couple people that have died in this franchise who you don't see the body again and they stayed dead, but you didn't see Palpatine's body again and he ended up alive. So, well, I don't agree with that. That's the thing. So it's like, I don't think the door is closed just because of how he died for them to decide one day, yeah, Darth Maul escaped, or they could just cut the losses and do the more interesting story. I think the one you probably familiar with, full with his brother, and just start, filling in that. I think that would be.
You could do his brother for like a little revenge thing.
Something. I think that would be fine. If that could be a mini boss that you send after Obi-Wan, and then he's been hunting him all this time, and then he finally finds him and after resurfacing from hiding.
Yeah, but you gotta have Obi-Wan smoke his brother though.
I'm Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I'm here to revenge my brother.
Yeah, because his Darth brother, his older brother, stronger than the Darth we already seen.
Yeah, and Darth's training wasn't finished either way. Like,
right, he was still
Obi
pressing
kills
on
him, even though Obi ain't realized himself. Like, he wasn't fully realized Sith either. So
if they do introduce Darth's brother, and he fights Obi-Wan for revenge, Obi-Wan has to smoke Darth's brother. Just for the simple fact, you can't allow Darth's brother to really.
He has to, because that nigga gonna kill him.
The point is that he has to win regardless. Because like I said, it's kind of the problem. You're writing with a character we already know gets old as hell and dies somewhere else, not related to him.
Right, he dies in Anakin.
So you gotta be tentatively careful about what you decide to do with these things. Now, what you can do with that is, because we never got any context up until this point about what took place before Obi-Wan was old and, everything between that. Like, before we saw episode 1, 2, and 3, you don't have any context for Obi-Wan's life before old man Obi-Wan Ben Kenobi to train Luke. And then after you get those episodes, you got the young Obi-Wan getting trained by Qui-Gon and then training Anakin before he goes dark side. But basically, you got a gap between him being like 30 years old at the end of Revenge of the Sith and him being like 60 years old at the start of Empire? I always forget the name of the first one.
Yeah, it's Empire Strikes Back.
Empire. So it's like you have some time to play with. So what I was saying is what you could do, because you can't kill him, is you could have him sustain some type of severe injury that prevents him from ever further training again or starting back. Not some detrimental exterior like a leg or arm, but maybe something happened internally that he just really can't move like that anymore. You would do something like that maybe if you want to do the thing with his brother. And like he injures him, but he wins the fight. And then after that, Obi's like retired. And that's how you find old Obi-Wan later, just living on the island, not even remotely looking like a Jedi. You can maybe do that. But otherwise, it's like, I don't know how you get there. Like, I don't know how you detrimentally hurt him, but you still have him be fine later on to die by Darth Vader. And it's filling in them holes that's tricky. So I'm like, I don't know how they do that. But I'd like to see it. That way could work or something similar.
So with
the way he dies, though,
where would you put?
That's what I don't like. Because he wasn't that strong with the Force just to disappear like that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Wait, what is that? Y'all both talking. I hear you.
Yeah, both of y'all was talking. Which one? What was y'all saying?
Go ahead, D.
Oh no, you was already in the middle of your shit. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when we get to Obi-Wan dying, we know he ain't that strong in the Force. I don't like that he disappears like all these other people that were really strong with the Force. You know what I'm saying? Like the folks that disappear, like Luke and the new ones and shit.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like that because we already know he ain't that strong with it. Like,
well, he is, because it's like that's the thing, and that's the problem with this specific series where it starts to muddy the water. Up until this series, Obi-Wan Kenobi within the movie franchise and outside of it by the general fandom was respected and acknowledged as one of them dudes for the Jedi. It wasn't until this franchise when you start questioning, like, oh, this dude is a little ass. So it's like his death, like you said, when you start filling in stuff after he was or before it was supposed to happen, it kind of changes his character. It starts to tweak what you understand. Because Leia, like you said, this Jedi don't seem like he should be raw enough with the Force to just disappear when he died, Yoda and Luke. This dude look like he should just got stabbed and fell over. What? He does, so it's rocking a hard place type of thing. When you start making
So
him look kind of weird, it ruins his stuff he did later. It's like, I don't know.
Where would you put this series in between the movies? Like, would you put it after the first movie, or would you put it like what would this series be?
After 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, time wise, yeah, it has to be after 3.
Yeah.
It can't be anywhere else.
Okay.
That's because that's when Anakin lost all his. That's when they fought. So you gotta put it.
That's when
It has to be after Anakin has
That's
become Darth Vader.
You gotta at least show his ass start to train. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it would have to get addressed to some degree.
Because if they're gonna do season 2, at least show us like him training to where he gets at the start of episode 4. Because that's where he dies, and when he dies, he disappears just like Luke and Yoda do.
In a less peaceful way, because they just kind of fade off into
Right. Luke,
sliced in half.
Luke
But
is used
he
all
gets
up
to
all the
disappear.
Force.
He gets his closing remarks like that.
So if we're gonna have season 2, you gotta show us that. Gotta know how he got to. Because right now he ain't a master to me. He was a master to the young kids. But like
He hasn't quite mastered the old head book of Jedi wisdom. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But that was a lot of what he probably would have soaked up being around Yoda and Windu and them, and probably as time went on, he got there too. He didn't really get the lunch, so he gotta go figure it out the nomad way, just sitting in the desert by himself. So yeah, you're right. It probably will take some time. So that could definitely be some filler and stuff for the next season or whatever they decide to do. Right, we do got to see how he gets from Ben Kenobi, he's now to old man, but also how he turns into like old wizard, Grand Master Jedi man. Yeah.
Exactly. So if that's the path they taken, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But I think overall, it has a lot of promising direction. At the very least, if they only did like one more season of this, I still think that's good.
I mean, I'd be cool with I want 3 seasons, but if they did 2, I'd be straight with 2. Because at least then we could see then we could see to the point how the movie set up the Obi-Wan versus Anakin.
Because it's like it depends. Like you can always keep going because your stopping point is only the start of episode. So like and that's like 20 years from where we're at right now. So there's still a lot you could do. Obviously. You definitely can flush it out.
I just think you don't want it to dry. I don't think you want to keep going with seasons and then dry the nostalgia out of it.
Yeah, I think ultimately the best way to do it would maybe be like the Mandalorian route that they went. They get season Mando, and then for the third one, they decided, all right, we're going to start doing Book of Boba Fett.
Right. Like,
so maybe something like rotating something like that out. Or like
matter of fact, you can do transition into Luke's years.
If that's what they're looking to do, I don't know who you getting to play young Mark Hamill, but
I don't either. But you can transition to Luke.
You talking about from where 6 ends and where we see him again on 7?
Yeah. So like when we're like
basically from Luke at like 20 to Luke at
45. To where he gave up on the Force and shit, and why he gave up.
Like the years of him training the next generation of Jedi before shit went left with Ben, and whatever else happened with him. Clearly, we saw in I don't know if y'all watched all of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, but
no, I ain't even started to. I started episode 1 of Mandalorian.
Young Luke shows up, and basically he takes little baby Yoda from Mando and goes off to go train him. So what they could do, because that's a lot of empty stuff, is we don't know, like you said. Luke is basically a master by the end of his own arc of Star Wars, and then it's like a 20-year gap, and then we get this old man. So you can always fill that in. With clearly, it's implied he was traveling the galaxy, probably looking for other Jedi and figuring out wisdom. He found their home of the original Jedi and went back to the source. So you can allude to doing some stuff with him searching for the original Jedi stuff. You could do that, yeah. I wouldn't mind that. But again, I don't know who's playing young man Mark Hamill, but that's another problem for Hollywood.
You could find somebody.
Somebody looks close enough to that, and they can figure it out. Now, will he act as good as Mark Hamill? I don't know.
Probably not, but
figure it out. Because you don't need him to be young. You really just need him to be like a believable late 20, early 30-year-old. And then depending on how dedicated Mark Hamill is to coming back or trying to salvage what they did to Luke, his character.
Wait, I think that would just be the best. I
Come
think
back
that'd
and
be
do it like they did with the Kenobi stuff, do a little de-age and bring him down. Mark Hamill, if you aged him down, can still sell 30, 40 years old.
Yeah, they got CGI now.
Yeah, so I'm like, you definitely could like half and half it, or maybe get a young guy for a stint and age him up a little bit later in the show than get Mark Hamill. However you want to do it. But yeah, you definitely can get some longevity out of these, days of future past, what happened between those years for some Star Wars characters. There's a couple people like it's set up in like gaps of 20 and 15 years. So it's a lot of contextual stuff that people be like, yeah, what happened with that? What y'all doing in between that time? So you could definitely get some shelf life out of it. And you could get a couple more series out of it because I'm sure Disney doesn't have any intention on stopping their Star Wars wagon anytime soon. They already got the next director signed on for the guy that's writing the next 3. He's made some comments that it's going to be separated from all the original stuff. Like ain't nothing Kenobi or Skywalker, anything related. It's going to be.
Well, I mean, you can't really. Can you even do that though?
You can, because the thing about Star Wars is
Wait, hold on. Before you go on your take, okay, question. So do you think they'll carry on what they left out with Rey?
Well, he's saying he's not. He's saying that his story is going to be completely removed. Like, I consider Rey, even though I don't like saying that, included within the Skywalker Palpatine story because she's a descendant of him. So she's part of him. This dude, he's saying this is going to be removed. Like, these people ain't going to be related to nothing about. Basically, one of the biggest issues, not an issue because it's been the point, but one of the things that Star Wars' problem is, kind of like with Lord of the Rings, but not quite the same, is the universe is so big, but we only ever follow like 7 people. So because of that, respect the world building because it's so like gigantic, all the stuff they build, all these languages and races and everything. You don't ever really see them much as you follow in the 7 people that the story's about. So basically, because for all of Star Wars that we've had so far, we've been following like the same group of people or their descendants or their forefathers that came before them, we haven't really looked into the Star Wars universe. We just kind of been following the Skywalker Kenobi group of people around for the last 50 years in some variation.
So we're going to be dabbling in a couple
other places. Yeah, so it's going to be some unrelated, like new characters for a separate trilogy.
That'd be.
I thought it was interesting when I read about it. Because I was like, that's cool, because we haven't had that yet. Like, everything Star Wars we've gotten has been related to the main Star Wars plot in some way. So if you're telling me you're going to be doing something different but extending out the Star Wars universe, I think that can be interesting. This is a big-ass galaxy we don't ever really follow much. So I can be down with that.
Yeah, that I can get down with. I ain't going to lie. Especially because in reality, we lost all the Skywalkers. Like,
today's podcast episode is brought to you by Fonzo. The orange man's drink.
So wait, okay. Since we're doing promotions, are we getting paid for this?
I'm getting paid by Alkaline Water.
Okay.
Oh, we get double paid.
You want to sponsor something for? You got to plug.
Oh yeah. This episode is sponsored by Adidas Hydro Flash.
Okay.
And then on the back it says in plastic waste. Got to
get rid of that plastic waste. Recycling is important.
Even though only 12% gets recycled, we won't even discuss all that.
I mean,
we're gonna say that for a general podcast.
We'll say that for a general podcast in the mailbag episode. We got a couple topics we could throw in there. The world kind of went to shit. A couple other things that the next one I think I want to do is a general episode. I just want to talk. Come on, there's a couple things going on in the world. I just want to let us riff on it.
Oh man,
if we already be having these conversations on the game chat, bro, this shit gonna be a whole new level on here, bro. This is gonna be next level. We gonna need to be cranking these out like this,
right? But I feel with that, for at least this section, we can close out the initial 3-episode review of Kenobi. We definitely will be back to finish with the second part with the next 3 episodes. Next time slot, we can get everybody sitting down.
Next time,
drop
a
more time. People don't leave to go eat and never come back, but you know that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah,
Started with 5 and we ended with 3. That's pretty good numbers. One day we started
gonna
with
let the
3 and
viewers
ended
know.
with 2. We usually lose one person on these guest episodes somewhere in between. So we're keeping the trend alive. One day we're gonna finish with the amount of
Look,
people.
for the viewers out here that's gonna watch this, it's always gonna be one of us is doing
Someone's
something.
gonna leave.
Ain't nobody gonna return.
It won't be me, I promise. I'll finish. I won't just up and walk off the channel. Just let y'all talk.
We gonna be one of
30
hosts.
minutes later,
There'll
like,
be one familiar face you always see. It's a Mad
gonna
Hatter,
be.
dude.
It's gotta be.
yeah, that usually
We gotta start dropping. And then after that, we could drop socials too when we start doing general discussions. They can follow us and stuff. Get our platform.
Man, nope. Because then that's the easiest way to get canceled. They be hopping on our shit, talking hella shit. No,
I can't believe you had the nerve to
Hell
say
nah.
that about the
How the
Islam,
fuck you
man,
finna
bro.
say
Hold on.
that? No.
No, it's all. See, that's what you can't be followed. That's when we get to that point. I'm not accepting follows from nobody. I'm just
Oh yeah, here now
right
private,
now,
straight
I'm
private,
not
straight private, straight
It'll be
private.
a separate account. I don't have time. These general episodes are gonna get a little ignorant. And I ain't got
Yeah,
time.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Y'all ain't having none of my shit, bro. Cause I know.
But we will get there when we get there.
My boy say he don't want the hate mail. He don't want the.
I'm good. I'm good. Cause I'll clap back quick. Tell him, yeah, you
Gonna
can
be
fuck
on
yourself. Like,
y'all are all canceled. Hold on, bitch. Wait a
Y'all
minute.
cancel my ass. We finna crank
Cancel
this
me?
another episode up.
You can
Next
unsubscribe.
episode.
You can't cancel me.
talking about on the next time, we're gonna read
Right,
all that
on
shit
to
back.
the
I hope
next
you ain't embarrassed by your words. You feel me?
I got me fucked up like I won't make another channel if this shit go left. It'll be the
Oh,
return
me.
to Toasty Time. Right. I'm gonna re-upload every podcast and go right back to work. Like, hey y'all, we back.
Toasty Time 2.0.
Toasty Time 2.0.
That's funny.
Because we go, it should get ignorant when we
Hey,
are.
stop. Won't stop.
We could throw some little One Piece joints up in there too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I was just about to tell y'all. Now at this point, it's just general riffing at the end of this podcast episode. I just got to the Wano arc. Like I
Yes,
just
sir.
got to the Wano arc. That
Are you
opening was a banger. That was
Bro.
some shit. That was
What you on episode 900?
Is that it? Episode 892 is the opening.
892.
Is that where you got to see all the cherry blossoms and
Yeah, they did that
Man.
real dope koi opening when they went up the waterfall with the
Mhm.
fish. I'm like, I like how the art design of this country is different. That's
So
definitely.
what's your grand take on the whole Cake Island arc when Luffy was fighting Katsura?
Well, I told you, in my
Katakuri?
opinion,
Yeah,
Luffy versus Katakuri is not my favorite fight in the show so far that I've seen. Like hands
he got
down.
his ass beat the whole time.
He was
Facts.
getting his ass whooped, but the fight was so good because it was so refreshing. Now, I don't want to say refreshing to watch somebody outclass him, but you know what that fight reminded me of? It reminded me of a Dragon Ball Z fight. And you know why I say that? Because a lot of Goku's fighting mentality is he gets the most enjoyment out of fighting somebody when they're the best version of themselves. And from the moment the fight starts, Katakuri is definitely trashing Luffy, but he definitely recognizes something's there. And it's like for the rest of the fight, he is openly beating this man into the ground to try to see if that theory is right and he's actually got something or if he's just trash. And it's like once he starts showing him glimpses, he started getting into the fight too, more than just I gotta squash this dude for moms.
Yup,
He was like,
he
I'm really
enjoyed that
enjoying
shit.
fighting this man. And
Yeah.
once he really, really got on it, his observation got figured out in the middle of the fight. And, you know, he had the snake man interfered and came in and the full sauce. He was really out there like, all right, strong man, I'm liking throwing balls with you. And I'm like, this is a Dragon Ball Z fight. This is giving me real Goku vibes.
Hey, they did Shorty and them bogus as hell. Tom Bustle.
The mirror chick.
Not Bruley,
Bruley.
his other sister. Shorty who was mad at him because she
Oh,
the one that
with
shot Luffy with the poison.
darts.
Yeah.
She was so annoying, bro. So
Luffy
I was so
Luffy got
irritated
a
because
they
you
got
know
they
what it
is
was.
to
I
use that
sympathized with
hockey like
Katakuri in that fight at that point. I was really enjoying the fight, and then she just interfered. I'm like, "What are you doing, Shorty?" And it wasn't like he was losing at this point. He was still tagging Luffy. I'm like, "He's fine. You don't need to get involved. He's literally the strongest of all of y'all here. The only person who can handle this situation better on y'all side is Big Mom. He's fine. He does not need assistance." And then when she shot him the first time, I'm like, bro, if Luffy lose this fight because this little bitch done drugged him, I was really finna be irritated because I was enjoying the fight so much. I'm like, bro, don't end me for me like.
Hey, but at least that shows you like a power scale of where he's at and where it's going. You know what I'm saying? It's not like before where he damn near get his ass for real quick, and next thing you know he get the pummeling motherfuckers. Yeah. Now you really see him getting his ass beat, and then he's like learning more as he goes. Like
yeah, that was one of the things.
You're gonna like your hockey's gonna increase the more you get fighting, the more you get the losing or getting beat on.
Right. Because the couple of fights that preset that one, like, I don't feel like he gained anything from fighting Doflamingo.
No,
I think not to say that he didn't gain power because obviously that's the Gear 4 debut and everything, but he already had that figured out. He didn't discover it then; he just hadn't used it yet. But like. Doflamingo's fight was like the crocodile fight to me. It was a fight for a vendetta for one of his homies. It wasn't really a fight to benefit him or to help him excel. Whereas when he fought Katakuri, I definitely felt like this is a fight for him to level up. This is a fight for you to grow right before Wano. This is beneficial. And when he finally beat him, I was like, oh man, that was so satisfying. And I was worried that it was gonna be like Thriller Bark again, where they was gonna try to cover it up and be like, yeah, we just ain't gonna talk about this. The whole time, all the Big Mom's kids, you know, they trying their best to keep everything like low key in the country or what's been happening, how much damage they've been causing. So even though he won in my head, I'm like, I hope this don't go like Thriller Bark.
I told him
he won and say something else happened or say he did some trick or something. But when they came out and then he just announced she was, y'all want to know what happened in the mirror dimension? I'm like, yeah, tell him. Straw Hat beat our big brother. They was like, what? The whole country was like.
Hey, tell West your initial reaction when you saw how big Kaido was.
Fine, yeah.
That nigga is. Why is this man that big? The
he jumped from Skypiea, bro.
From Skypiea.
They trying to kill him. So I'm like, why are you this big, bro?
My man's jumped from Skypiea.
When I first seen him, and you know the Admirals, all of them are like 9 feet tall or whatever. Kaido, real life, is like the size of a building. And just walking around. I was like, why are you this tall?
This man tried to commit suicide from a place that people thought was a myth. And he jumped, no parachute, like, yeah, this is it. I hope I die.
With the liquor in hand, he just like, here we go. Then hit the ground and was frustrated he didn't die.
Man,
this man had the nerve to say that old jackass Whitebeard can figure out how to die, but I can't die. I'm like, bro, what did you just say? Who is this man?
Whitebeard had cancer, so he was involved anyway.
Got stabbed like 80 times and shot like 250
shot
times.
With a bunch of cannons.
He fought like 60 people before that. He had an excuse to die. You're fine. Man. You just drunk and bored. That's what that vibe gave me. You drunk and bored.
And then we got down with Kid, Eustace Kid, and he had him up in the. He had him up.
And when that intro happened, I was flat like up until that point. So like as far as captains within the worst generation, for who I've seen that's fought, and you know I got a good feel for their powers. Obviously, you put Luffy at the forefront, but I very much had Law and Kid at that second and third spot from the moment I saw them and saw the sauce that they was turning on. So when I saw him hemmed up in chains and ass whooped in a cage, Kaido sitting there like, you better tell the rest of your classmates to relax. I'm like, oh shit. Wait, Kid, what? Last time I saw Kid, he had a whole little alliance going and they was getting ready to go after Shanks. And then I look up after not seeing him for the longest, and then Kaido got you in jail, and Speaker Box dude and what's his face are just gone.
The Scarecrow cat.
Yeah, I'm just like, what happened? So yeah, I'm very much interested to see how he got his ass or got caught slacking and then ended up getting caught.
I was gonna say something, but I don't want to ruin it.
Very much interested to see that. But yeah, the opening, because the openings usually be like basically stingers for like shit that's gonna happen in the season, or at least for that first part. So I'm watching it and I got a couple glimpses of some things, or at least some things I see happening. I see that everybody got some new drips for the Wano country. I appreciate it.
Yeah, gotta fit in.
Not look too much like outsiders. It's cool. I've seen a couple of glimpses that look like some people got some new techniques and some fights that's coming up. And obviously the main animation of the opening is Luffy fighting Kaido. So I know that's gonna be the big thing that happens. So probably among other big things.
That I was gonna say the war arc that happens in Wano puts to shame any war arc you've seen before, bro. Even damn near Marineford.
Marineford was so satisfying, though, bro. Like,
but I'm saying that this
especially
shit,
recently, just because in the last arc they were showing so many flashbacks to it. But the only thing about Marineford is the opening to it was slow. Not slow like bad, but it was just the Luffy being impaled down for so long, taking forever to get to
forever.
Jail. He was in jail for a while. And it's like, I know one of the spoiler things that happens in this arc is Luffy gets in prison. I have no idea what it's for or why it happens, but I know he gets thrown in jail at some point. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. And why does man look so buff now? I seen his opening. Luffy like he done put out 25 pounds of muscle.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious when that weightlifting montage is
going to happen. You already know, so it's not really ruining for you. So basically, this one you see Jinbei join the crew officially.
Oh yeah, I figured that had to happen.
After he told Big Mom he ain't scared of a big ass. Hey,
I saw that power work. He was like so elite. He was like,
so give me y'all ranks right now for the Straw Hat crew. Strongest. It's cool. We know Luffy the strongest, but give me at twos and
Zoro. I think Robin after Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, Brooke, and then Frankie, and then Usopp and fucking what's her name really ain't strong at all. But
who we talking about? Chopper?
No, Usopp and Nami.
Oh yeah.
Chopper to me ain't a fighter. They like Chopper only
has fighting ability, but he's
he's their doctor. So
so I'm gonna easily rank him at the bottom. But
he has fighting capability. Actually, I would even put. I don't know. It's tough to say. His offensive damage may be higher than Nami's because her whole fighting ability is based on a weapon that she has to have in hand. Like Nami doesn't actually have any tactical fighting ability herself. Whereas Chopper, even though he need to use the rumble balls, that's still him and his devil fruit powers and stuff. Like that's
true.
He can do that. So I maybe put him above Nami if she don't got the weapon on hand, but if you're giving everybody their full kit as far as that.
So what's your ranking say? Then I'll say mine.
Mine was Luffy obviously at the top, Zoro at the number 2 spot. I want to put Sanji at 3. Because I feel like he has some upgrades coming, but for where he is right now, Sanji's probably like 5. I'm not counting Jinbei yet because he hasn't joined, but obviously it's the arc where he joined. So if you're counting that, then I'd say Jinbei's 3rd. Yeah. I think Robin's probably 4 and Sanji's 5, and then somewhere along in this arc, Sanji will probably move up into the number 4 spot. I saw he got his drippy fit though. In the opening. I saw that. I was mad he didn't put it on when they found it in Luffy pocket too. Like, I got has a 3 on it, Sanji. What do you think it is?
Yeah. So I got Luffy, Zoro, Jinbei, Robin, Sanji, Brooke, Frankie, Chopper, Usopp, and then Nami.
Yeah, that's exactly how I think it should be.
Because I just think I don't think they nerfed Robin at all.
No, I just think they're not. Seems better.
I'm just not.
To me, at least from what I've seen, she looks like she can do a lot more. Like the body parts she puts out, they're like big as hell. Now she's making giant hands and nets.
The wings and shit.
They climbed up half out the top off of her hands that she made and stuff.
Right. Like, hey, wait. How did you feel about when they did the backstory where everybody went after Sabaody? How did you feel about Sanji going where he went?
Honest to God,
so boys.
The thing I was thinking about the most about that was
He was out there on some lady boy.
Adventures from the moment I saw what it was on that. All I kept hearing was Kuma's voice in my head. Like, if you like to go on a vacation, what would you like to go? And for each of them, it kind of felt like it was something at least they would like to do. It fit something of what they wanted. But with Sanji, it real life looked like Sanji just got sent to be punished. But just being perverted for like 700-800 episodes, whatever amount of episodes it was before the time skip. I felt like he was just
the lady boy.
When I found out where he was going, that he got sent to Lady Boy Town and had to be there for 2 years running on beaches every day so they didn't butt him up. I was like, bro, that's so tough.
I took it as they worked on his one weakness, which was females, where if he was in the middle of a battle and seeing a badass female, his ass finna be like, huh?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
So that shit had me crying.
Or if she's if they're in the middle of a battle and he's fighting a bad female, he just like get stabbed or something.
And, but the thing is, you're gonna see that again in this arc, bro.
Yeah.
And it literally, and what he does literally puts himself in a position and the team to where like you'll see. So
honestly, I'm more annoyed to hear that because truth be told, Sanji's supposed to be clean. Sanji is on ground duty at this point for me going into this arc coming off of Whole Cake after all the nonsense we just got into because of his family. Granted, he didn't choose to do that. Like, still, he had to go through a lot of flack and fight an emperor earlier than we were supposed to because this nigga.
Yeah. I just think it's I'm telling you, it's gonna go crazy. Wait till you see Luffy and Kaido go down and get down for the first time.
Yeah, because them opening AMVs look something nasty. Man, I see him one hit acquitted this man into a rock, and Luffy did not get back up. I was like, damn.
Hey, but hey, tell him, Jay, the one thing you will see in Wano is gonna break your heart, though. I ain't even gonna give you no more. But it broke my heart.
Sad. It's sad as hell, bro. It's some sad ass shit, bro.
I ain't even talking about nobody. Ain't nobody that we know gonna die or anything. But like how them
something
people,
outside of that sad is going on.
Yeah. Like the way that Wano people have been living, bro. After Oden.
Sad, bro.
It ain't right, bro.
Hey, okay. So look, me and Wes we found out why. The theory. Do you want to hear the theory of why Luffy was sent to Amazon Island?
Oh, for when they everybody got split up.
Yeah. Do you want to hear the theory that's going on?
Well, that one I really hadn't put too much context into the thought as to why.
Okay, so do you want me to tell you? Because it's some mind blowing ass shit.
Yeah, sure.
So you know Kuma was a part of the Revolutionary Army. Yeah. So the thing is, Kuma was a spy under the Revolutionary Army to do like the emperor shit, like the warlords. Yeah. Right? And the reason why he sent Luffy to Amazon Lily is because his mother's name is Lily and it's that's her island.
Oh. Like she owns it, or
she used to be an emperor of the island, and she ended up saving Boa and her two sisters, but she really couldn't do anything because she was an emperor and she couldn't get involved. So she went to Kuma and asked him for help. So she left Amazon Lily to join the Revolutionary Army. And that's when she met Dragon, and then that's when they had Luffy. So he sent Luffy there because that's the last remaining place he thought he would have been safe.
That makes sense. You just randomly picking up a spot on the line.
So how do you that's crazy though? And then like Westhoff theory that Crocodile used to be a female and could have been possibly Luffy's mother.
God, which would piss me off, bro. Like,
that'd be really
because you know how Ivanka in the Marineford arc kept saying.
Yeah, he kept alluding like he had a little secret of some information.
I think Crocodile used to be a woman, bro, and then Ivanka changed. He did some fuck shit, and Ivanka got pissed and changed him to a man. I think probably Crocodile used to be a part of the Revolutionary Army and did some fuck shit.
Yeah. Interesting theory.
That's what I think. But that Luffy mother's theory, I think that's actual shit.
I hadn't put too much thought into his heritage at first for the show, but as his family members gradually
listen to what Just a little
Or
something.
happening now, I did start to wonder. I'm like, so
His family tree is fucking ridiculous. If all of them linked up, they can take over the world. Just
Between
keep.
his dad,
honestly, I could believe it if just his
and
dad
Luffy?
and Ace and Sabu were both there.
Yes,
with him.
bro.
I
Ace.
felt like that would be enough.
Yeah, how you feel about Gold Rogers being Ace's father?
Wait, say it one more time.
How you feel about Gold Roger being Ace's father?
Oh, well, that for me, we was on the game that night, and I saw that was my live reaction. I said, that just blew my mind. I was like, bro, what? That was the last thing I was suspecting whatsoever.
So
I
just
already knew that they weren't blood related, but as far as who he was actually related to,
nah, they just adopted brothers from Garp because Garp adopted fucking But
that I knew already.
anybody
When I
under
found out who his dad was, I was like, Jesus.
Yep.
I was everybody on the show. I was like, what, bro?
should I damn near when he was like, oh yeah, that's true. Drag is my father, but he's not Ace's father. Ace's father is Gold D. Roger. They was
He
like, well,
said it so casual, and he was like, whoops, that was supposed to be a secret. Oh, well.
Ivanka was like, wait, what type of
He
family?
was like,
tree
oh,
do
yeah,
you
we're
guys
brothers.
have?"
That's not his dad. He's like, yeah, Dragon's my dad. He's like, oh, that's Ace's dad. They was all like,
He's like, oh, sorry, I was supposed to keep that in.
he was so, whoops. Wasn't supposed to say that.
Hey,
Y'all know
you
now.
found out who Sabo's parents are, right?
Yeah. They had just showed
And
that
him being a
couple, like
celestial
10 or
dragon
15
and shit.
episodes back.
Yeah.
This little backstory. They all got some crazy lineages. And for them to all randomly end up together was
Hey, but no,
ridiculous.
Ace and Luffy are low key related. I think they're all related in a way.
Because of the D thing, right?
Yeah, so it's the will of
D.
death.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't quite have the full understanding of it yet, but just based off of that, the connection, I
So
kind
the
of
will of
figured
D,
they
the
weren't
will
blood
of D basically is like a thing that, because celestial dragons are like the highest of the highest, right?
Yeah.
But the will of D goes higher than the celestial dragon, so they're pretty much.
and they have like an ongoing fear of people with D in their name because
right, because the
then like
will of D
I
is
think
pretty
that's
much
what they
the-
said. The thing in the show is like anytime a person of D emerges, they bring like some type of great change or some significance.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anytime they're around, they're gonna be doing something of great significance.
Right,
Good,
so that's
bad,
why
whatever.
Trafalgar,
they
Trafalgar
get
D
into
Law, Porcus D Ace, Monkey D Luffy,
Marshall D.
Teach.
Teach.
and then Monkey D Dragon and shit like that. And then Garp is a D. Which is
Monkey D.
which I
Garp.
find that I find that kind of weird. Like Garp doesn't have devil fruit, but this man strikes fear in people's hearts.
Yeah,
'Cause
one of the things that I've seen ongoingly read online is as far as people with base level power that do not have any type of additional assistance.
Garp is
just
the
like
strongest.
Hockey, I think it's Shanks, and I think Garp is second, or it might
Yeah.
be vice versa, depending on like what Garp you get at that point in time. But apparently, yeah, just for no assistance, no weapons or nothing, just straight hands.
Right.
And Hockey, yeah.
You can join a game too with us? You gonna join the party? You gonna just call it one and chill? And
Oh,
watch?
I'm just chilling. I was gonna hop on the party after we finish this up. So
Oh, cool. I didn't know if he was gonna finish and then just go back to being back in the cave. You gonna hit the lights and get back to watching the One Piece.
oh yeah, I figured I was on a binge at that point. I told myself
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
hey.
wanted to get to the end of the whole cake, and then I'm
You
gonna give
missed the-
myself now I can breathe that I done made it to one.
You missed the ass whooping last night. You missed the ass whooping. You dodged the bullet.
In what?
Sonic.
Oh, fuck that.
Did y'all ever end up getting what you call it to work again?
No,
I
I
never
never tried it.
re-downloaded it.
I played one game, but it was tweaking a little bit. But I never really dabbled back into it.
Oh, I was just curious.
When I dabble fully back into it, I'll let you know. Because you got it in your library though, still, right?
No, I had the game fully downloaded. It's just I was curious if anybody ever got back on it because I know that one day it's like the service was leaving. I ain't never hear y'all mention it.
Bro, the service was shit water, boy. We couldn't even. For me, West D and Zio couldn't even finish a game, bro.
And we can't even never get Cam in the game.
Yeah, so Cam and Zio can't play at the same time for some odd reason.
Same service.
It's the service, because like when Cam and Zio can't get the invite, it say error on invite, and then it's vice versa with Cam. So it's just weird.
All right, well, we'll chop this one here and go ahead and hop in the party, man.
Hey, they gonna be on.
Thank y'all for staying around for the second half of this pod that was completely unrelated.
Glad we
Hey,
could-
It was like a 20-minute
What the fuck is this?
They gonna see people losing like this. Like, what the fuck?
was like, hold on, I thought we talked about Obi-Wan. He was like, for a minute. Sorry about that. I'm in my run through.
All right, but thank you, Mr. Mad Hatter.
I'll understand. We'll wrap it here and then see y'all for the next one.
Yes, sir.